And it's also the weekend. We are ending Friday, May the 8th. It is time to get something in your glass. Log on, connect with us. I'm going to give folks a few minutes. We definitely kicked this off a little early. Maybe you can tell I'm excited to start the weekend a few minutes early. So why don't you guys settle in, get something in your glass, and get ready to party. And we got a little thematic tunes going on. Hopefully you can hear Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville in the background. Today we are going to be taking a little bit of a detour. A detour from wine and going down the tequila road. And I'm very excited for our special guest today. But in the meantime, I'm going to drink some rosé. And I love it. Lisa's already getting us started with vodka anyway. So get it, Lisa. Good to see your name. You guys know the drill. I need you to hop into the comments. I need you to let us know where you are, what is in your glass. And if you're a first timer, we need to see 3 stars up in the comments so we can shout you out. I already see Pam in League City drinking 13 Enchanté. Good to see you, Pam. Jeffrey, what is up in Kerrville with Skeleton Key Cab? Janice in Chicago, we miss you. Drinking some Lost Rock Hunwa. Love it. Tiffany, what is up? Blend arrived at HEB. Hubby on his way home soon with one for tonight. Yes, guys, that's that Senso blend that is benefiting the restaurant workers in Texas who have been affected by COVID. We are super stoked about that. It is hitting HEBs. So go to your HEB and get it. Richard and Ruthie in Burleson, what is in your glass? We want to know. Bill and Monica, what is up from Lake Jackson? Castoro Cellars Rosato di Paso from the Paso Robles region. Hey, sounds like another rosé. You're on brand. I like it. California Tannat, Sarah, I love it. So this rosé that I have has some Tannat in it. We're going to talk about that today. And Day 54 in Canyon Lake, Sangio Rosé. That stuff is so good. Did I not tell you that this week? That Sangio Rosé is legit, guys. Woo! I might even agree that this song might be too chill for a Friday afternoon. I'm ready to like party and you like turn the music up, you know. Man, I love Jimmy Buffett, but Jimmy, I'm gonna need like a little more oomph. And so, man, what are we gonna play instead? Woo! What about the Beatles? No. Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison, anybody? Come on. This is how I roll into the weekend. Y'all, it's happy hour. Friday's over. Week 7's over. Celebrate. Get something in your glass. Oh, man, it's tasting good. The wind is blowing. It's like 78 degrees outside. What else do you want? Wine in your glass, vodka in your glass, maybe tequila in your glass. And yes, Chris, I see that you have already noticed my sexy looking hat. Guys, we're going to be talking about this new piece of merch today. I am over the moon about it. It got hand delivered straight from the vineyard today. I'm very thankful to Savannah Poe. Shout out to Savannah if you're in the room. Love it. Shelly, Lincoln. They're drinking a sparkling Carignan from Mendocino, the Las Jarras. I still want to have those wines. I haven't had them yet. And yes, Jerry Lynn, you can shut down Ann and her Hootie and the Blowfish situation. Catherine, good to see you. Woo! And William Chris Vineyard says the mountains are blue today, if you catch what I'm saying. My guess is that is likely Anthony behind the William Chris. Behind the William Chris account. Anthony, you just showed yourself behind the account because you're talking about those blue mountains. And I know you love that Coors Light like I do. Poe Pum indeed. Poe, thank you for the hat. It is so sexy. Okay, guys, I think it's time to get it kicked off. We're going to shut it down. Alexa off. If your volume's turned up, your Alexa probably just responded to my commands. That's been happening to me in Zooms. I don't know about y'all, but I'll say things to my Alexa or my friends will say that, and it'll totally set mine off. Okay, guys, we have a really awesome lineup of guests to say hi to. First up, the man, the myth, the legend, our tasting room manager. I'm going out to hi. Luke, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, I am unbelievable. I am sitting on the porch of the farmhouse having some Farmhouse Mourvedre, 2017 Farmhouse Vineyards Mourvedre. This one's for you, Dirk. Cheers to Dirk.
Cheers indeed. Happy hour, sir. Good to see your face. The quarantine beard is strong with that one, guys. Keep on keeping on with it. I'm glad I am not the only one with all the gray up in here. So appreciate you staying. What is solidarity? We'll call it quarantine solidarity on the beard side.
Thank you.
Luke, it's good to see you. We will see you shortly. Next up, we have a dynamic duo.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. Where are you guys located and what are y'all drinking?
We are in Fredericksburg, and we are drinking, of course, the Relief wine. Mourvedre blend.
I love it. Did you guys put a little bit of a chill on it?
Yes, sir.
We did, and as far as I know, the other day I bought the last 6 bottles, and I had to sell one of my coworkers a bottle.
Wait. There's no more wine that I can buy of that at the winery.
Maybe not at the winery.
Wow. So it sounds like HEB, Whole Foods, Central Market, Twin Liquors, like let's go hit up the retail and support folks. I love that. Guys, how cool is that? That's like less than 2 weeks that we've been able to sell straight through, 500 cases of the Relief wine to raise so much money for Southern Smoke and to get that money into the hands of folks who've been affected by COVID, the restaurant industry. So, man, cheers to that, guys. Cheers to enjoying that wine. Hopefully those of you out there watching are also able to enjoy that wine. It is delicious. Scott, for those who don't know, I would say Scott is one of our beautiful faces from the tasting room. You see him running around like crazy all the time at the High Estate, running all kinds of errands, doing all kinds of tasks, hosting tastings, you name it. But who is this lovely lady with you that our fans might not know?
This is my lovely wife, Jerry Lynn.
Hello.
Often she works at the Welcome Center during release parties.
Yeah, so I usually, write your name and sign you in and tell you where to go get your wine if you're one of our wine club members.
So in other words, if they're seeing you, it's time to party.
Absolutely. I am a party animal.
I love it. I mean, it's the Pavlov's reaction, the Pavlov's conditioning that if I see Jerry Lynn, it is then followed by a release party on the estate at William Chris, drinking lots of wine. So I'm definitely going to see you and want to party.
That's usually what people say. Jerry Lynn party. That's how we go.
I love it so much. It's good to see both your faces, guys. Happy hour. Cheers to the end of week 7. I'll come back and see y'all in just a little bit. Cool?
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Guys, there are a lot of awesome people jumping into the comments here. I can't say hi to everybody, but I'm going to keep on keeping on. If you haven't jumped into the comments, let us know you're here. Leah's here. Kathy's here. We love you guys. I have a very special guest I'm going to bring on. I'm not going to do the whole introduction just yet, but without further ado, I would like for everybody to say hi to my good friend, Jessica Sanders. Hi, Jessica. How are you today?
Hi, Dee. How are you? It's nice to see you.
Likewise. I miss seeing your face around. So I know we're going to talk about all these exciting things about tequila, and I'm going to try not to go there just yet. But maybe first tell us where you located currently and what is in your glass.
So I'm in Northwest Austin, and I'm drinking a little nip of Manzanilla Sherry, which is my go-to. It's always my go-to, drink before the drink, right? Oh. So it's just like a wee little, just a little something.
I mean, not that there was ever any question, but I mean, just further solidifying the idea that I knew that you were my people. The idea, one, that you can have a drink before a drink. It's like the apéro before the drink.
Yes.
And that you chose sherry. I forgot, honestly, how much I enjoy good, dry sherry, especially at this point in the day. It kind of gets you kick-started. Yes.
It's so food friendly, and it's just, I don't know. It's just it's a good precursor to wherever the night may take you.
I love it. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun. It is the precursor to a lot of fun today. I will bring you back up here in a little bit for we're going to call it not necessarily the wine nerd section today. We're going to call it the spirits nerd section, rebranding that segment of today's episode. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you in a little bit. Cheers, friends.
Sounds great. Cheers.
All right. We do have one more friendly face from the William Chris team that I want to show. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm well. I lost signal for a while, but I'm drinking William Chris Skeleton Key Cabernet Sauvignon 2018 and having a great time.
I love it. And where are you? Where are you located?
In Canyon Lake.
In Canyon Lake. Okay, there's a good crew in Canyon Lake, I hear these days.
A great crew. Yes.
Well, guys, for those of you who don't know, but how do you not know, Mary is our famous Brit in the tasting room, I should say. I feel like it is good to see her friendly face. She's not able to lead you in tastings right now, but I know that Mary misses you dearly. Mary, anything you want to say to our fans that you're not able to see right now?
I'm just so glad that I'm part of the William Chris family, and that includes our members, our growers, my co-employees. We had a really fabulous town hall meeting last night, and it was such a pleasure to see all my co-workers.
Well, it's so good to see you and to hear your lovely British accent, like always. Cheers, Mary. Happy hour to you.
And to you.
Thanks. We'll see you just a little bit later as well. All right, guys, it is time to jump in. I want to talk to you about this. Mercedes, good to see you. My Pahrump, Nevada. Nancy, you got to remind me if I'm saying Pahrump, Nevada correctly. I love that we have fans here from Nevada. I think I saw my Canadian boy up in Toronto. If I missed you in the comments today, I am sorry. Guys, I just love that we have regulars. You know, you have like regulars at a bar. You have regulars at the winery. We have regulars in happy hour. It's so good to see all these awesome familiar faces every time we hop on. And so, yes, Savannah, I don't know why I just accidentally clicked on your comment there. It's good to see you too. But let's talk about what I'm drinking, guys. I've got rosé in my glass. It is Friday. That means I want something that's a little easier to drink, lower in alcohol, get it going, kind of like Jessica talked about. So this is the Veraison Hills Rosé. This is the first time we have made this wine from a Texas Hill Country vineyard, Veraison Hills Vineyards. And let's see, it's a 2019. And on the back label, you're able to see, don't forget about your back labels, guys. They give you a lot of good information. 51% Mourvèdre and 49% Tannat. So anytime you use a grape like Tannat in a rosé, you can start to expect a little more like oomph, a little more muscle, shoulders, intensity. And so let's see if that rings true. Because, you know, Tannat makes pretty big red wines when we make red wine from that grape. Oh, yeah. Guys, flavor intensity through the roof. Watermelon, clementine, strawberries, raspberries. This is very citrus and red fruit driven. Sometimes with rosés, you'll get a little bit of like maybe dried herbs or mineral or flower. Nope. Here, we're talking like crunchy red fruits, fresh red fruits, and citrus. I'm thinking like lemon, lime, and clementine. I did not intend for that to rhyme, but, you know, it is sublime. So Acid's elevated, guys, medium plus, you know, get the salivation going. So this is going to be refreshing. Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to slop up my saliva, guys. This is going to be a killer one. I'm going to say a close second to the Sangiovese rosé that we had earlier this week. Yes, I've done 2 rosés in 1 week. That's got to be some kind of record. That Paloma Sangio rosé was amazing, but this is dang good. It's a totally different style. That one was a little more mineral driven, a little more textured. And this one is just like pleasure. Like this is a punch of fruit and acid pleasure. So you want to kill this sitting in the pool. And I'm not going to lie. I would even make a spritzer out of this, throw some fresh fruit in it. I know I'm all about the purity of wine and the wine experience, but like, guys, I'm here to just make sure that you're having the most pleasure possible. And fresh, like slice of orange, fresh slice of lemon, fresh slice of lime in this, or maybe some fresh cut up strawberries with some ice cubes, maybe a little like sparkling soda water, like get it done. You're going to crank through this bottle in like no time. Okay. It is Friday. You guys, if you can't tell, I am stoked to drink a lot of this wine right now. It is so tasty. I will also tell you that I want pool food with this. So like we usually do the food pairings here, I'm talking like popcorn, Doritos. I want burrata. I want, fresh cut tomatoes. I could do a caprese salad with this. I could do, man, what else do I want? Beef jerky. I don't know if y'all get into beef jerky at the pool. I get into beef jerky at the pool. Yeah, that's where I'm going with the food pairing on this. Make it easy, make it finger food, make it easy to eat quickly because you're going to be drinking this fast and you want to eat fast. It's like pop it, drink, okay? So this is your plan for the weekend. Get some of this rosé. It's the Veraison Hills Rosé. First time we've ever made this wine, and I am stoked. Guys, this is 2 rosés in a week that I've had for the first time, and now I want to buy a lot of both of them. Is a problem. Okay, yes, Janice, you did miss what I'm drinking. It's the Veraison Hills Rosé. It is 51% Mourvedre, 49 Tannat. And it's time to move on, guys. Enough about me running my mouth about what's in my glass. Cheers to everybody. Happy hour. Happy end of week 7. Happy start. Happy launch of the weekend. Yes, Jeffrey, any cheese. Always any cheese. And make sure you lick your fingers if you're eating those nacho cheese Doritos. I'm all about that. Got to get the goodness. Okay. Guys, we have such a special guest. I'm going to pull Jessica back up on the screen. But before we jump in, I have to give quite the introduction to Jessica. Y'all don't know how excited and special it is for me to be able to host Jessica on Happy Hour today. So let me start out with this. First of all, Jessica has a long resume of awards and contributions, not only to the Austin and Texas kind of larger beverage world, but also nationally. Jessica has been featured in Wine Enthusiast's 40 Under 40. She has been on Imbibe Magazine's 75, which are like the 75 influential people in the drink world. She is a former United States Bartenders Guild Austin chapter president. She is a current board member on the Austin Food and Wine Alliance. She is the beverage director of the Edgewise Restaurant Group, which includes Contigo and Last Straw, which if you haven't been to either of those, I don't know what rock you're hiding under. And last and certainly not least, and for me most importantly, she is the owner of my favorite cocktail bar in the city of Austin for many, many, many years now. I guess what, maybe going on 7? You'll have to tell me. I think we're going on 7 years now, maybe 8. 8. Wow. Okay. So guys, yeah. Drinkwell is the name of the cocktail bar, but it's so much more than a cocktail bar. Drinkwell has food. Like, honestly, at one point was like the burger that I sought out all the time. Like, I wanted the Drinkwell burger with those really amazing pickles. Okay, guys. So I know it's me blabbing my mouth, but I got to tell you this story. I used to work for my church. True story. I think you guys have learned that about me. You know, it's just a 7-week relationship we're in now. We spent time together every day. You guys know that I worked for my church for a while, and Drinkwell was located between home and the church office where I worked. And so it just made so much sense in the world for me to swing through on a very regular basis and hang out at Drinkwell. And this was about the time Drinkwell was getting kicked off and kicking ass in the world, which they still are, well, were before the quarantine thing happened and are as soon as it's over. And learned a ton. Guys, way before I was into wine, I was into spirits and cocktails. And I would sit at the bar and ask the most obnoxious long list of questions about every single drink that I was being poured, about all the crazy ingredients they would have on the menu in these cocktails. And Jessica and her incredible team that she hired and trained and brought up and basically like taught Austin how to do hospitality, would patiently answer my questions and teach me all the things. And let's be honest, pour me another drink to make sure that I was staying happy and intoxicated in just the right way. So I have learned so much from Jessica, both in terms of like knowledge about spirits and cocktails and even sherry and eventually champagne. I know Jessica went down the champagne path long before I did. And guys, I am like over the moon that Jessica's here. She is a badass. And we are taking a detour away from wine nerdery, and we are going to get into spirit and cocktail nerdery because it's Friday and it's the weekend and you deserve it. And so, wow, sorry, I've talked way too much at you. But if you can't tell, I'm excited to have you on, Jessica. Maybe start out by telling us where you're originally from and how this crazy like path towards all things alcoholic beverage started for you?
Oh man, well, thank you so much for having me, Dee. This is so exciting. It's so exciting to see a guest like for the first time in I can't believe it's been 7 weeks. I feel like I've aged 10 years in that 7 weeks. But it's so exciting to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you also didn't mention you hold the distinguished honor of being a guest that had a cocktail named after him.
Oh my
like
God.
one of the very few in the early days of Drink Well, we created a cocktail. I believe it was a rye whiskey and apple brandy kind of jam, and we named it the Preacher Man in your honor from that time when you were working for your church. So, yeah,
I still remember that cocktail. It was incredible. It had some, I think, walnut bitters in it too.
Yes,
oh my God.
Yes.
You guys were too good to me in those days.
Yeah. So you hold a very like heralded place in the cocktail discography that is Drink Well for that reason. But yeah, kind of the opposite of you. I actually was a wine nerd before I even got into spirits and cocktails. And I had gone through like wine education before Drink Well even opened, and thought that wine was going to kind of be the path. And then from that sort of stumbled into learning about spirits and cocktails. And the history of Drink Well is just long, but I started off as a wine nerd and then got really into spirits and cocktails, and Drink Well kind of was molded in that path to be a cocktail bar. But yeah, 2 weeks before quarantine, we celebrated our 8-year anniversary. And it feels like forever ago that Drink Well opened, but and since that time, I have to say, like, tequila has been getting me through the quarantine. Normally, I'm a gin drinker, right? I drink wine and gin. Like, those are my two go-tos, right? Maybe a little whiskey sprinkled in the colder months. But I have been rediscovering my love of tequila during this quarantine. I think because I needed something. I just needed something a bit more right now.
Hey, I hear you. I'm there with you. And so when I moved in December, and I had built up this crazy bar basically because of you and Drink Well, like teaching me all these things so I could recreate stuff at home. And I built this crazy bar over years and years. And then I decided to move, and I hadn't touched it in so long. So everything but my bourbon and whiskey collection got donated to some fellow cocktail bartenders in town. So I miss my clear spirits.
Yes. Yeah, I feel that. Well, and I don't know, I think I have like an intellectual draw to tequila because of its similarities to wine. It speaks to the wine drinker in me, because just like wine, tequila is so terroir driven, and it comes, and in many ways it's like terroir on steroids, because the same way that a grape will taste differently depending on where it's planted in the world and the conditions under which it's grown, you're talking about an agave plant that has to mature for at least 5, if not 8, 10, 12, sometimes 20 years if you're talking about like wild mezcals and things. And so having to see a plant go through multiple growing seasons and multiple rainfalls, and how the soil changes and the climate changes in that place, it's like terroir on steroids. So it speaks to the wine drinker in me to drink tequila.
I love that so much. So seriously, when we were discussing what topic you were going to talk about, and you started talking about terroir and tequila, I feel like I've heard people maybe kind of like secondhand mention that, or like in an offhand comment, but never heard anybody really talk about how significant that is to the myriad of different agave spirits and tequilas even that you can get.
Yeah. And, when you start to get into the world of mezcal, it even goes above my pay grade, because there are so many different species that have different, jurisdictions of where they're able to be grown, and at what rate do they mature, and the process of making mezcal is so intense. With tequila, ideally you're talking about one agave species, which is the blue Weber agave, right? And so, the number one thing that I look for when determining whether or not it's a tequila worth buying is it 100% agave tequila? It must be. It has to be 100% blue Weber agave tequila. And the cheaper tequilas that are on the market, a lot of times they're what are called a mixto, which means they're only 51% agave, and then the other 49% question mark, right? And so you can kind of see some like dubious things happening, and that's when you get like really.
sorry to jump in here, maybe even drawing a little bit of parallel here on, and we won't go there because it's a little bit controversial, but there are some folks who consider themselves Texas wine and maybe aren't using 100% Texas grapes.
Very similar. You could make a very similar analogy there, right? Is that, is this 100% Blue Weber agave grown in the place that it's supposed to, and then produced in the manner that it's supposed to, and trying to look for tequilas that are made using artisanal processes, and we could go down a whole tangent about kind of dubious practices in tequila making. And if your tequila costs you $15, there's a reason for it, right? So
I feel like there's so many parallels in wine here. Like, we get it. Like, you get those $8-10 bottles of stuff and you're like, well, how quality is that?
Exactly right. And normally, I think the difference, like with wine, I can totally find really nice bottles of wine for $10-12, right? And they're still really well made, and with producers that care and growers that care. But with tequila, it's just the nature of it being an agricultural product, and also the human beings that go into cultivating that plant and harvesting that plant and producing the spirit. There is a cost to that. And so I don't know, I'm a big advocate for buying responsibly made tequila that's produced in a sustainable way, and not just sustainable like we think of it from an ecological perspective, but like from a human perspective, like what does it mean to be a sustainably made product, right? And of course, just finding things that are super delicious and yummy, and that's also way important, right? Someone in the comments is asking, like, is tequila to be sipped or mixed? And my answer is yes. Yes and yes.
Also, it's great that Anthony, who's on our team, answered that exact same way that you did.
Right. Yeah, the answer is yes. Unfortunately, I think, especially if you're in Texas, right, tequila sometimes gets pigeonholed into one application, which is the margarita. I think we can all agree that the margarita is like the state cocktail of Texas, right? If not the United States. Someone told me some crazy statistic that, like, 1 out of every 5 cocktails sold at any given time in the country is a margarita. It might have even been more of that. I think it's like 2 out of every 5 cocktails is a margarita, right? Which is nuts to think about.
That's insane.
Yeah, most ordered cocktail in bars across the United States. But, I think once you start to really get into tequila, you realize it has so many other applications, and we just don't see a lot of it because when classic cocktail recipes were being written in like the prohibition or post-prohibition era, tequila really wasn't a thing in this country. And so it didn't really make its way into very many classic cocktails. It wasn't until the margarita, and even far later, that you started to see tequila or agave spirit showing up. So even now I can name maybe 7 or 8 tequila or mezcal cocktails that I would consider to be like either classics or modern classics, as opposed to gin, where you have hundreds and hundreds to choose from. Just, when we were kicking out cocktail recipes in that era, tequila really wasn't around here as much, but now you're starting to see some really innovative things done with tequila. So now we can start drinking it in more ways than just a margarita.
And
I love the margarita, but
And well, of course. And like, I feel like a lot of folks, which is one of the reasons I was excited about this topic that you're going to cover here for us, was I feel like a lot of folks, especially when you grow up in Texas or you have any time spent in Texas or a family member in Texas, you learn to make a margarita. Like, it's just part of growing up. And it's not the most complex recipe, which is actually helpful for us. We like the simpler recipes because we can reproduce them. So all that being said, we wanted to talk today. I know that you were excited to share with us tequila beyond the margarita. So teach us a little bit of this. I'm going to try and shrink myself so folks can see what's in front of you, so you can teach us a little bit more. Let's see if I can make you big. Well, how about this?
I don't need to be made any bigger, D. This quarantine's hitting me hard.
Hey, amen. Amen. Can we talk about this summer? This summer is all going to be about personality.
Right. That's right.
I saw somebody post that on Instagram and I was like, I feel that so hard right now. All the pizza and pasta that I've been eating, the bottles of wine,
oh my gosh.
The summer of personality. Anyway, back on topic here.
Yes.
Teach us tequila beyond the margarita.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you about two drinks that I love, and then I'm actually going to make one because I'm getting thirsty, right? So if you are a margarita drinker and you want to branch out and do something a little different, there's two great recommendations that I have. One that I think is starting to get a little bit more well-known and a little bit more popular is the Paloma. So this is a tequila cocktail. It's served tall, and it's tequila, fresh grapefruit juice, a little bit of lime juice. I've seen some recipes that might call for like a bar spoon or maybe like just a quarter ounce or so of agave nectar just to sweeten it up, depending on your palate, but you could certainly leave it out. And then some soda, right? Maybe a pinch of salt. It's super refreshing. It's pretty low in sugar. Just really a thirst quenching cocktail. If you have, grapefruit juice and lime juice, you're good to go. And alternatively, if you even wanted to make a more simple version of that drink, just tequila and a grapefruit soda, like tequila and squirt or Fresca or Jarritos or something like that. Just really, really delicious and super easy and just perfect for a hot day. So that's my first go-to margarita alternative. And for that,
I want to make sure we catch that, Jess. You just gave a really badass like quick fix if we don't have these ingredients or whatever, and you just want to make it happen fast. I just want to make sure I catch that and folks catch that. You said you can just do tequila and like a grapefruit
soda. Yeah. Now the key is you don't want like grapefruit LaCroix, right? Because the purpose of the grape, you want like Jarritos or Fresca or Squirt or something like that, because you do want a little bit of sugar in the cocktail, right? Just to balance it out a little bit. But if you just take a really good repasado tequila and mix it with grapefruit soda, you're good to go. It's super, super yummy and thirst quenching, but I personally prefer the version that is fresh grapefruit juice and a splash of lime juice and just regular Topo Chico or soda water. But if you don't have fresh fruit or whatever, tequila, grapefruit soda, good to go.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you. So I didn't mean to jump in and interrupt, but I was like,
worries.
Oh my gosh, you just gave like a really great hack, and I want to make sure folks caught it.
Yeah. And then the other cocktail that I love, which has a very peculiar name, and I'm trying to do like deep dive research into why this cocktail is called this, but there's a cocktail from around 1940 from a book called How and When, and it's pronounced or spelled like Juschu, Juschu, right? So this is like a deep tequila B-side, and it's tequila, honey syrup, lime juice, and maybe a dash of bitters, right? So if you are a gin drinker and you've had a bee's knees, this would be a similar cocktail, but with tequila instead of gin, right? And maybe the lime juice instead of lemon juice, but same. And it's really quite delicious, right? And no one heard, and I think it never got popular because the name is one, like you look at it, you're like, wait, how am I supposed to pronounce that? And also, it's just, how does that cocktail name correlate to that drink in any way whatsoever? I have no idea. But it's a legit, like old school 1940s post-prohibition classic cocktail, and it is super, super delish.
I'm like super, super like interested in this particular one. I legit thought you had like an autocorrect spell check issue on the email when you sent it earlier.
Yes.
Talking about that, and I was like, what the heck is a Juschu? And how do you?
And so exactly. I mean, even now I'm like, I check myself. It's like, is it Juschu? I don't know. Who cares, right? But yeah. So if you're making it at home, my on this drink is 2 ounces of tequila, 3/4 ounce of lime juice, and a 1/2 ounce of honey syrup, and then like a dash or two of Angostura bitters. And the Angostura bitters, it's a bottle that looks like this. You can get it at H-E-B if your liquor store is closed on Sunday. But to me, it's like Angostura, but really any bitters, but Angostura is like the go-to bitters. It's like salt and pepper for your cocktails, right? It's just that little extra seasoning and little zhuzh of something that like tones down sweetness and brings up certain flavors. And it's well worth, the $5 or $6 you'd spend for a bottle of bitters. But yeah, that cocktail is really nice, and it's a really good margarita alternative if you don't have Cointreau or triple sec and all you have is juice and like sugars in your cabinet. It's a good go-to for me. Really yum.
I'm super stoked about that. Do you think there's a world in which, because I know that oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget his name, over on East 12th Street. Billy was doing frozen bee's knees at some point, right? Do you think there's a future in which we could see frozen just shoes?
Who knows? I don't know about the frozen part, but I'll tell you. So my favorite cocktail bar that is not my own is Small Victory, which is in downtown Austin, on right around the corner from the Intercontinental. That's my favorite cocktail bar in Austin that is not one that I currently work in. And they have this cocktail on their menu, which is the first time that I actually got to like sip one and made me fall in love with it. And then from there, you go down the rabbit hole of researching its history. But really, really nice drink. And I'm sure it would be really good frozen.
Oh my gosh. Just I want to go to Small Victory so badly right now. It just reminded me I love that little, it's like a little hole, like a little, I don't know, comfy and tiny, and I love that place. Okay, we got a good question.
It's one of my. Oh, go ahead.
Somebody in the comments asking, can you substitute lemon juice for the jushu in place of the lime juice?
Yeah, you probably could. You might want to adjust the sugar levels a little bit because lime juice is a little sharper than lemon. Lemon juice to me has a rounder tartness to it. So you might want to play with how much honey is in the drink. But I'm sure it would be totally passable and delicious.
I love it. Love it. Okay. Yeah. You had, I think, one more to talk to us about.
Yeah. So this has become like my new jam, right? I'm a Negroni drinker. I told you earlier, I'm a gin girl. So I drink a lot of Negronis, right? And this cocktail is tequila, love letter to the Negroni. It's the Rosita. And the reason why I love it is, as much as I love margaritas and Paloma, sometimes the acidity can just be really hard on me. And so try to find cocktails that don't have all that citrus juice in them. And this is, an all booze, no juice situation that we're playing with Rosita. And it also packs a punch, but it's still like a nice aperitif in the style of a Negroni, right? So it is 1.5 ounces of repasado tequila. I'm mixing today with Patron repasado. I had the opportunity to go and visit the Patron distillery a couple times in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's really a special place, and the juice is really nice. So 1.5 ounces repasado tequila, and then equal parts all the way down, 1/2 ounce of dry vermouth, 1/2 ounce of sweet vermouth, and 1/2 ounce of Campari. And so I'm using Dolan dry vermouth and Martini and Rossi sweet vermouth, and then 1/2 ounce of Campari. And I would say the brands, you could probably swap out the vermouth brands depending on what you have, but Campari is Campari. I mean, to me, it's like there's no substitution.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many like red bitters that are out on the market now trying to compete with Campari, but to me, it's like Campari is the gold standard. So this is a stirred cocktail, so I'm going to put it in a mixing glass with some ice and give it a little zhuzh just to get it cold. And then I've got a cocktail glass here, and you can serve this up like in a martini glass or a cocktail glass, or you could put it on the rocks, and it would be just as nice.
Oh man, it even looks like like a rosé replacement, even, like if I'm a rosé drinker in warm weather. And honestly, like you know this, which by the way, I didn't know that you were into wine before the cocktail world. So that was a fun fact for me about you today. But us wine people, we get sick sometimes of like studying and drinking and tasting wine all the time. And we go seek out the bitter stuff, and Campari and Negronis and Aperol spritzes are like the manna from heaven for us sometimes.
Oh man, it's so good. Like the other reason why I like this drink is because it doesn't have anything in it that's going to spoil. There's no fresh juices. I can just make like a big pitcher of it, and I'm probably like telling on myself right now, but I just make a big pitcher of it and keep it in the fridge. And then, because nothing's going to go bad. And now I've got like a cold batch of Rosita in my fridge at all times, next to like my cold batch of martinis and my cold batch of Manhattans that are ready to go at any time. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a really great tequila cocktail. It's definitely an underappreciated tequila cocktail. And I don't think you just don't see a lot of tequila cocktails that are stirred cocktails that are more spirit forward. Maybe the one exception would be like a Oaxacan old fashioned, which is also super delicious. But the Rosita is well worth the price of admission. It is so good.
Well, cheers, friend. Thank you for these amazing recipes and tips on like tequila beyond the margarita. I'm sure our fans are going to want to talk about all and try all of these things. We do have a couple of questions I wanted to throw up here. We have a question from Bill about a good sipping tequila. What would you recommend for a good sipping tequila?
So I'm a purist, and I like silver tequilas, right? And I think there is a misconception about tequila that sipping tequilas are like the añejos and the extra añejos. And you see like the Don Julio 1942 type drinker really gravitates towards those when it comes to sipping tequilas, because I think for some people, when they think of a sipping tequila, they're trying to emulate the experience of sipping whiskey. And so that's why you see people gravitate towards aged tequilas for sipping. I personally really like Blanco or silver tequilas to sip, because I want to know that I'm tasting tequila. I want to get it as close to its natural state as possible. My favorite sipping tequila is Fortaleza Blanco, which is a lowland tequila. So when you're talking about tequila, you're talking about like highland tequilas, which are tequilas grown in the highlands, right? Higher altitudes, and then the lowlands, which are in the valley. Fortaleza is a lowland tequila. And to me, it's really creamy and kind of funky. It tastes like blue cheese in all the right ways, right?
What? There's a tequila that tastes like blue cheese?
Yeah, and when I tell people, I hesitate to say that because then people are like, "Oh, well, I don't know about that."
You know, that sounds amazing. Sign me up right now.
It's like creamy and salty and a little bit funky and earthy, and it's just, I don't know, it has a nice weight to it. It's by far my favorite sipping tequila. They also make a reposado, which is nice, but when you start to get into reposados and extra añejos, I feel like sometimes you're tasting more of the oak and the wood and less of the tequila, and that's why I like sipping, silvers. But yeah, the Fortaleza Blanco is quite nice. And then Patron also makes their Roca line, which is a more artisanally produced version of Patron tequila. It's made by a Tahona stone, like the agaves are crushed via a big stone as opposed to a mechanical process. That's also a really nice sipping tequila.
Can you spell Fortaleza for me real quick so I can post it in the comments?
Yes, Fortaleza. And I'd say retail, you're probably going to pay around $40, $45 for a bottle of Fortaleza Blanco.
Okay, I love it.
The Roca's a little bit more expensive. The Roca's going to probably run you closer to 55 or 60, but both really, really good.
I love that. And we're gonna take one more question here. Lee asks, "What about mezcal?"
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a big question. So
let's focus on, like, if I'm going to sip, because we were focused on sipping tequila. Let's do sipping mezcal.
Okay. So mezcal is a big world, right? And they all are different types of agave grown in different places, different maturity levels, different ways of production. And so therefore the flavors of them can vary dramatically. Like mezcal is definitely closer to wine. You talk about like a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand tastes very different than a Sauvignon Blanc from Napa Valley. It's the same thing with mezcal, right? Very, very broad ranging flavors depending on the plant and where it's grown and all of that. I would say a good entry-level mezcal, if you've never had mezcal, the good one to start with is Del Maguey Vida. It's affordable, it's fully flavored, and it's soft and it's approachable, right? So it's not, I think people have this idea that mezcal is going to be super smoky and burly and earthy and woody, and Vida is a nice like entry-level mezcal, and they get more challenging as you go up in price and in terms of wild agaves versus harvested and things like that. If you wanted to splurge, Del Maguey also makes my favorite mezcal, which is their wild papalome. Paloma means butterfly, but it's a species of agave that this particular mezcal is made from. And I love this one because you definitely get a little bit of the smokiness and the roasted flavor of the agave, but it is bright and floral and just really, I hate to use the word feminine, but it's kind of like just a softer, really like grapefruit zest and honey lifted. Yes. Like white pepper and honeysuckle. And it's just, oh, it's heaven. It's just so good.
Okay. So
yeah.
I've had issues with mezcal and just really like, I want to get into it. Cause like you said, I feel like it's such a huge world like wine is. And I know that a lot of my friends who are really into spirits have really gravitated towards it. It's hit the Austin scene huge, all these incredible selections that you have. And I need you or somebody to be my Sherpa to like help me find like those wine crossover ones that I can really get into, like the lifted, the elegant, the tasting notes, and like that's that last one you mentioned sound magical. I'm going to ask you a favor after all of this is over. This is going to post on Facebook. Do you mind hopping in the comments and dropping the names of these ones that you've mentioned? Because
you bet.
I probably won't be able to spell them.
Yeah, I'll slip a few more. I mean, much like soulmates, there is a mezcal for every person out there. I truly believe it, right? And I don't gravitate towards mezcal. I would never walk into a bar and order a mezcal on my own. But if I'm in a situation where I have to order mezcal, I know the one I'm going to ask for because it fits my palate.
Okay. Well, Jessica, we have covered so much stinking material about tequila. Thank you so much for, blowing our mind, filling our brains with all the nerdery about tequila. This has been incredible. Hopefully folks
pleasure.
Hopefully folks got some great recipes that they can recreate at their house. I saw that Kathy's making a list of ingredients already, ready to go to the grocery store. Guys, all these drinks sound so great for the warmer weather that's on the way. Like, let's all be drinking tequila more in the coming days. So Jessica, cheers. Thank you for joining us at Happy Hour and dropping your knowledge with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, it is the freaking weekend, and so I am not going to go into a this or that. I'm going to bring all of our wonderful friends back up on the screen. Jessica's going to be thinking about who we're going to cheers to. All these lovely faces, we're all going to cheers out together, but you guys know I got to end with these three things. So some very important information, so don't you dare log off yet, because I have some special things to talk about, including this beautiful hat. So maybe let me take them off for 1 second so you can see this again, guys. How incredible are these new hats? You can get them in multiple colors. High Society on the back. You can't see my hair, thank goodness. William Chris Vineyards on the back. You need these new hats. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's number 2 on these three things. New swag alert. Go to that link in the comments right now. You can pick up these hats in our apparel section on our website. Guys, next up, and I'm going to bring everybody up while I'm finishing the announcements out. Number 1, curbside pickup is this weekend, and we are giving away free Yeti wine tumblers for folks who get 12 or more bottles in their order. Yeti wine tumblers if you get 12 or more bottles. And how do you get 12 bottles very quickly? You get the Mother's Day pack, that's 4 bottles. You get the virtual tasting pack, that's 4 bottles. And you find 4 of your favorites. Get the Paloma Sangio Rosé and the Veraison Hills Rosé and just make it happen, guys. 12 bottle orders might end up with 2 Yeti tumblers in their order. Go do curbside. Go see the wildflowers, take a drive, get away. They're going to do curbside pickup for you at the winery. Last and certainly not least, the lineup for next week is posted in the comments. So if you want to drink along with us right here, 5 o'clock every day next week, yours truly is going to be here. We're going to be drinking Petite Syrah, Grenache, Skeleton Key White, Pet Nut, and the High Plains Mourvedre from 17. So that list is in the comments if you forget it, because it's Friday afternoon and you are 1 whole bottle of rosé deep, and it's already the weekend. Then come back later and remember what we're drinking. Okay, I want to say thank you to all our guests for being here. Jessica, the mic is yours. Who are we cheersing the day away to?
Oh man, I have to cheers to my staff at Drinkwell. It's like heartbreaking that they're out of work, and I miss them so much, and I know that they miss being at work. And that's true of every bar and restaurant staff that you can think of. So I'm cheersing to my staff and the staff of every bar and restaurant that cannot wait to serve a guest again.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. Cheers to your staff, Jessica. Cheers to you. Thank you for being here so much. miss you. I can't wait to come drink cocktails at your bar when you open back up. I love you guys. Happy weekend. I will see you next week, 5 o'clock right here on Monday, guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Mm-mm.